Howdy everyone, how's it going? Branzarus here with another episode, and today we'll be taking a look at what's left of the abandoned Big K here in Newark, Delaware. This store opened its doors back in 1989 in the college town of Newark, Delaware, home to the University of Delaware, and sat just a few blocks away from the main campus. In terms of size, the store had around 70,000 square feet of retail space and sat in the College Square Shopping Center. Sears announced this store would be closing in August 2018 and would go on to close November that same year. The building itself was very plain looking, by far one of the most boring and uninviting storefronts I've seen. The front of the building had this boring, industrious white color, which honestly is quite ugly in my opinion. Besides the very noticeable scarring on the front of the building from the Big K logo and Western Union signs, there's not really anything else, besides the white of course. In fact, at first, I suspected they painted over the building once Kmart left, but looking back at pictures from when the store was open, it looks like it's always been this color. Now taking a look over to the overhang, there's not really anything to see. Just the overall aesthetic of this place was so dry and depressing, just not a whole lot going on anywhere. So actually, after doing some poking around online, the reason the store looked so different than most other Kmart stores from the time is that it originally opened as a Bradley store, which was open just for a few years from 1987 to 1989. Fast forwarding a bit to the main entrance, you can see there's not much going on where the ceiling is raised up. Looking inside, it's difficult to get a good peek of what's left, with the second set of doors really reflecting the light in the back. Inside the vestibule, there was actually a sign advertising Kmart's website just laying against the wall. I suspect that was hanging over the door so customers would see it as they exited, though I have no way to know for sure. I also thought this was kind of interesting. I've never seen one of these before, and it looks to be an automatic lock of sorts, so the doors could be opened with a code rather than with a key. Pretty neat. In fact, when I was going to the Kmart store in Bear, I actually found this exact sign hanging over some of the clothing departments, so that was pretty interesting. Of course, on the side, there's a lot of construction work going on. The strip of stores actually extended a bit further down with some empty shops like Office Max. However, those are being renovated into a new housing development from what I understand. After that, I headed to the back of the building to see what was going on behind Kmart, and unsurprisingly, there wasn't much at all to see. Back by the receiving bay, there wasn't much going on. It was left completely vacant. The only thing that gave any mention to Kmart back here was someone having painted Kmart on the compactor. Something about the way it was written just reminds me of the old Kmart logo from the 70s and 80s, which I thought was pretty funny. And over by the compactor, all that was left was some plywood and a Wawa tray. Just out of curiosity, I tried the bell on the back of the door, and much to my surprise, it actually still worked. The one thing that I did notice as I walked through was that the building was absolutely massive in terms of how tall it was. I know it sounds like such a strange thing to comment on, but I honestly can't say I've seen any other Kmart stores from this era with ceilings this high. Not even super Kmarts really got this big. Then over here we've got the entrance to the riser room, and I'll admit I didn't actually know what it was at first until I googled it, and riser room is just a special way of saying sprinkler room. And just beside it was this massive satellite dish. I can't imagine what use Kmart would have had for this, but perhaps it made more sense back in the late 80s or early 90s when the store first opened. Now this was pretty interesting. I noticed this permit station behind the store with some details about the new development that's going on, and it looked like it's going to be quite an expansive project. There's the details of what's going on if you're interested. Lastly, on the far side was a set of emergency doors that, if I had to guess, went right out onto the sales floor. Like I said, unfortunately, there wasn't too much going on back here, so it's going to be a little bit of a shorter episode. If you want to stay up to date and see more content, then definitely subscribe, leave a like on the video, it really helps me out. And thanks for watching, I'll catch y'all in the next video.